and give knowledge. But the darkest thing about this situation is they don't see the truth. See, this is Satan's world. Satan has an agenda, and Satan will appear to be righteous. Satan is beautiful. It appears to be righteous. It really does. So he gives the teachers the impression that they're there to teach. No, what they're there for is to condition the children year after year. Every year, the load gets heavier on their mind and their physicality because then you got PE, and PE every year is more thorough and more complicated, more exercise, more this. And every year the load is it's made heavier and heavier for these children. And as if math wasn't hard enough already when I was in school, and when our grandparents was in school, as if it wasn't hard enough already, they chose to twist it to make it more of a load on them so that they can think outside of the box, so they can troubleshoot problems and come to the answer by going all the way around it instead of a direct solving the problem like we had when we was in school. Now you got common core math and all this other bull crap that's really nonsense. It really is. And as a matter of fact, speaking of nonsense, when I lived at my other sister's house and I was helping with their homework, the children's homework, he literally had homework of words that he had to learn, and they were called nonsense words. And it was literally made up nonsense words that are not in the dictionary that he had to learn to build his memory. You know why? Because it's not about gaining knowledge. It's about conditioning the children slowly over all these years to condition their mind to handle the workload that is placed on them by the satanic system and giving them the mind to believe that this is what the way of life is. When I get out of school or slave training camp, I will be conditioned to handle it mentally, whatever load they place on me, because we graduated slave training camp. Now we were perfect little slaves. Now you may listen to this and think conspiracy theory all you want. You don't have to accept it. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just speaking the truth. Jesus in the Bible, nowhere did he ever chase someone down and beat the truth into them. He didn't argue the truth with them. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to state facts, tell you revelations that have come to me from my Father. I asked when I was a child in prayer to see the things that others can't see so that I may help them. It went unanswered for 27 years. And when it was answered, I about lost my mind because of the things that I've seen, the things that I continue to see. I see things that people can't see. See, back when I was a child, I didn't fully understand what that would mean. But I see the spiritual warfare. I see all Satan's plans and inner workings. Back then, when I was a child, I just meant like demons. But see, I got what I asked for because, like, he showed me. And all of it is demonic led, it's all satanic in nature. So he gave me what I asked for. They say, be careful what you ask for. I asked for it and I got it. And I ended up at mental institutions multiple times because the attacks that come against me, because they seen the calling that I have on my life. They seen the things that would be revealed to me, which is a danger and a threat to their kingdom. Their kingdom is here on earth. Satan's kingdom is here on earth. But we are here to bring the kingdom of heaven because the kingdom of heaven is within you and all around you. You know why it's all around you? Because in everyone, the kingdom of heaven exists. It just must be accessed first. You must awaken to that kingdom of heaven within you because God exists within you as he existed within Jesus Christ. The mark of the beast, like I said, the mark on the forehead is the mind frame that you've been given, which you act upon beforehand. You don't have to believe it. All I'm asking is that you consider it and then use discernment, which is God given. And then what you do with this information, once you consider it, and if you can see that it's the truth, which it is, but I'm not going to try to convince you, I'm just going to tell you this. Once you come to the truth, what you do with that information is up to you. I will say this right now, you are a slave because you don't understand the truth. But the moment that you consider the truth and allow the truth to enter you and you accept the truth, there is a, like, it is possible to continue living in that same kind of lifestyle and not be a slave. But I will say this, because the slave is the mentality, because you're only a slave physically because mentally you're a slave. Now, once you accept the truth and see that you're a slave and you choose to do what's beneficial to your family, you know, then you can go into it with the outlook that I'm doing this because I want to, not because I have to. See, the get and got mentality is huge. The get and got mentality is huge. Because if you look at yourself when you wake up and say, I got to go to work, got bills to pay, you don't have to go to work. You don't. You don't have bills to pay either. You don't have to. But what do you want out of life? See, I personally, and this is not me saying this to make people feel bad about themselves and what they prioritize. This is not this. So please don't take it as this. I personally want my father. I want my father. That's it. And I also want the people that I love, which is everybody, to be in the kingdom when I get there, if I get there, because I would be prideful to say that that's where I'm going. So the moment that we say, oh, I'm going to heaven, I'm a good person, we are prideful. We have become prideful. I'm no better, I'm no worse than anyone. We all are wicked beings, but we can choose righteousness. So realize that you can flip a switch mentally to where you're a slave now and you wake up miserable going to a job you freaking hate, saying, I got to go to work. I got to pay this bill. I got to pay this. I got to go grocery shopping. I got to wash the dishes. I got to wash the clothes. And you can be in this victim mentality as a slave, or you can come to the truth and realize that you get to go to work, that you get to wash the dishes, that you get to do all these things. Because you got to do nothing. You get to do everything. It's a matter of whether you flip that switch and go from perception and deception to reality. Because the reality is you don't need anything but God. But it's a matter of what you want, what you choose. I personally want God and I choose God. There's nothing above that to me. So, really, what it boils down to is what do you want the most? If you want to continue working so that you can have these nicer things and not struggle, and you want to continue in that lifestyle, that's okay. That don't make you a terrible person. I'm not going to judge you or try to tell you anything that you should choose what I choose or choose what somebody else chooses. That's not my job. I don't do that. That's not who I am. I do know that the Father knows best, but at the same time we all have a decision to make at the end of the day. And I'm not going to down you for any decision that you make, but I will hold you accountable if I need to. I'm not going to call you out, but I will try to send messages in a way that maybe the truth will be revealed to you so that you then have the option to accept the truth and allow it to transform you into who you need to be, who you have potential to be, or you can continue in those ways. And when I speak on people's wickedness, do not think for 1 second that I have not first addressed that same wickedness in me. I don't believe that there's ever been a wickedness that I've seen in someone else that did not first exist within me. Because the world created me just like it created you. God created us, but the world formed us. Satan shaped us into who we are. Only thing you need is the Father. That's it. And the Father provides. It may not be the best looking life because the image of life that we were given, it looks a lot different than the reality of things. See, you've been sold the delusion, you've been sold the lie, so that you accept the mindset and an action to follow that mindset through the satanic antichrist system, the beast system, if you will. You've been conditioned to accept the mark of the beast here and here. I was conditioned the same way, I know. I used to go to work every day and I was one of the best workers at every job that I went to. As a matter of fact, I was at a Korean company that absolutely did no hiring of Americans. They hired no Americans. But just to get me, they hired my brother in law, who they told me would not be hired if it weren't for me. And the only reason they hired him was so that they could get me. They thought and they perceived that I would deny the job and go work somewhere else if they didn't hire my brother in law too, which wasn't the case. But I wasn't going to tell them that. I was in that. I got to do what I got to do. This is life. Any advancement, whatever. I was in that same mind frame, and I was miserable. I went in. I busted my butt, and I done everything that I had to do for them. And while the system prospered, I was borrowing money from my mother and father in law to make it. While I could simultaneously find the money to go get weed and go get alcohol, drinking 2 fifths a day, not even getting drunk. I've been I've been through a lot more than I'll even really touch on probably, but I was given that mentality and I've had so much come against me because of who I had potential to be. That's why I was always a target. Spiritual warfare is very real and it's nonstop with everyone. More so for the chosen than anyone else because the chosen are truly a threat to the system that's in place. We're not here to say that we're better. We're not here to make you feel like you're less than. We're here to reveal to you this. See, God, when He looks at you, when God looks at me, when God kept me from committing suicide in my friend's building one night when it was raining and dark outside, and I thought I would just slip in there, slip my wrist, and I would relieve the world of the burden that I had become. To me, all the things that I was hearing and everything that I was going through had convinced me that the most righteous thing and selfless thing for me to do would be to take my own life and relieve everyone of the burden that I had become. That's not the Father's voice. But the voice that I heard in that building that struck me with a fear I did not know existed, the voice that said, I'm not done with you yet, while simultaneously the revelation come to me at that moment that what those words meant was, it's not your life to take, and it never was. It's not your life to take, and it never was. And at the same time that that voice was heard and that revelation instantly come that that's what it meant, and I was struck with fear that I used to poke fun at, because prior to that I was like, what you talking about, fear of God? Fearing God? Why would you fear an all loving God? It don't make sense. But I understood it. I got struck with the fear of God. The fear of God was put into me, and I never poked fun at that again, ever. See, simultaneously, in the split second I heard that voice, while that knife was to my wrist and I was about to press down and yank down to the floor as hard as I could, after sharpening it for about 15 minutes just to make sure that it was sharp enough to get the job done. I was dead set on it. I was at peace with the decision that I was about to make, and it was going to be final. I didn't cower out. No, because to me, that wasn't going to be a coward's way out. To me, that was courage. I had been convinced that that was the courageous, the righteous thing to do, the selfless thing to do. But I locked the building to where it couldn't be opened. But when I done this, the door to the building, which was locked, it swung open with force as I heard that voice and had the revelation while this is happening. In that split second that it happened, the door swung open with force and rain was pouring in sideways into the building, and I was struck with fear. And honestly, I was kind of in shock because of all of it. Because here I am about to end it. I'm at peace, and then all of a sudden I'm struck with fear. I hear this powerful voice, this stern fatherly voice that says one thing, but I have instant revelation that it means something totally different. And the door, which couldn't be opened from the outside, somehow mysteriously blew open with force, and rain's pouring in sideways. I got I got up with that fear still in me, walked out of that building through the rain, didn't speak a word to nobody. I walked through my friend and them's back door, turned right, walked between their mama and dad, didn't speak a word to them, and I went to my friend's old bedroom from when he was a child, and I laid on the couch bed that they had in there, and I laid there all night staring at the ceiling in the dark, going around and around in my head trying to figure out what truly just happened. Because growing up the way that I grew up, it like I knew deep down in my spirit who it was and what it was, but at the same time, I couldn't fathom and comprehend why he would save my life. Why? But he didn't see who I was or who I had been. He knew who I was to become, who I had potential to be, and how many people that I could possibly save if I were to live the life that he knows is best for me, according to his word. The spiritual warfare was real, and it continues to be. You might not be able to tell it now, but I'm constantly attacked. Like the attacks against me does not stop. They're in my head right now. But God has given me the strength to overcome. They cannot defeat me. Why? Because my Father declared the victory long ago, before I even come in this flesh suit. See, what you see right now is not me. I control this, but this is not me. So when I happen to pass away, there's no need to go to my funeral because I will not be there. You'll just be trying to say goodbye to something that you formed an attachment to that has nothing to do with me. This, it's a prison that I'm stuck in. This is my trial to see if I'm worthy of the kingdom of heaven as it is yours. So, what we're here to reveal to you is that God don't see us for who we've been. He don't see us for who we are. The reason he loves all of us is because he sees who we have potential to be at our very best. I won't say any names, but there's a friend that I grew up with that everyone I know, even their siblings, talk about how bad of a person he is. I'm not going to say any names. Some of you watching this, you may know exactly who it is, and you may even agree with them. But see, I always treated him like a brother, and I love him to this day as a brother, and I won't speak down on him. You know why? Because I see what God sees. I see who he has potential to be at his very best because I was there. And that wasn't even his very best. That was just bits and pieces of what he could be at his very best. There was a point in time where he was a very hard worker, an honest man. He had anger issues. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has their issues. But I seen him when he was at his best as a father. I seen him when he was at his best as a hard worker and had businesses. See, so many people give up on this man. I hold out hope for him and love in my heart for this boy or this man now. But I see people for who they have potential to be. I don't care what they've done to me. I don't care how they perceive me. I don't care if they spread lies, rumors, or if they even perceive that it is lies. I don't care. A person could beat me down physically and I would still love them. You know why? Because just because that's who they were, don't mean that's who they will always be.